moving to Spain was a good idea, and this will be an update since 2016. One of the things we've had is some of the difficulties that get thrown in the way. As man plans, God laughs, as they say. A few deaths in the family have had some impact, obviously financially and obviously emotionally, because of being so far away. We've also got over the hurdle of April's mother coming to Spain for the first time this year. Downsides for Spain for me has to be the way a lot of Spaniards, particularly sets of Spaniards, I suppose where we are maybe the Benidorm for Spaniards in that case, we find they're quite loud and often can be not the best of people. But at the same time, there is many good Spaniards as well. So like I said, it could be that the holiday makers here are the equivalent of what's a little bit further north with the Brits with Benidorm. But it does mean that, like now, holiday season, there's dogs barking outside, there's kids yelling, the guys downstairs on a Friday, Saturday night get drunk and fight each other. And they're all Spaniards. They're all Spaniards. But at the same time, like I said, I can't really say it's all Spaniards, but we learned our lesson here. We're moving away from this area. Just not nice people, nice environment. But work-wise, there is work around, and there is work if you look for it and work to develop. One of the things I have been focused on too much, though, is the internet side, and that's my mistake, or should I say it's a mistake because it's funded as being here 3 years already. I would say I need to develop more localized incomes. So from that point of view, if you're coming out here, recognize what you can offer the local community and where you can find a niche to do it. Things like the air conditioning and locksmithing and all that sort of stuff is stuff I can do. But one of the problems I've got is, like right now, which is another gripe I've got, is mechanics here. My car has now been to Vauxhall, and the car spent 7,000 euros on, and because it's under warranty with the garage I bought it from, and they said the central control unit's busted, which is 1,600 euros, and obviously the guy that owns the garage doesn't want to pay that, so he's still got my car. Point being is, a lot of the second-hand cars here are very rogue. I mean, there's been places raided with stolen cars and all sorts. You know, an entire car forecourt was completely full of illegal cars stolen from other parts of Europe. A lot of the mechanics here will rip you off given half the chance. A lot of mechanics have no idea what they're doing. I find that they add faults, may steal parts as well. It's one of those things where I wish I had a garage or a off-road carport, because I would fix the car myself if I could, because it's illegal to fix a car on the road. Schooling system I think is fantastic here. The kids really love it. There's a lot of stuff for kids to do. Like now it's the summer holidays, so the kids have been doing taekwondo, swimming, and lots of sports activities. Torrevieja is famous for sports. It promotes it as a sports city. So there's a lot of activities, the nature park, the beaches, etc. The hard bit is, in this area, is the work side. If you can sort work out, the rest of it's pretty good. They're pretty good. You find the rents are relatively cheap. Personally, I wouldn't recommend buying unless you're 100% you're in the area you like, and you're 100% you're going to keep the property. They are building too many properties here. They're still building. What you've got here is a problem relating to the fact that many of the contracts for construction are expiring, so they've been building homes even though many of them have not been sold. But if you own a home here, obviously what value does that add to your home from the 80s or 90s? Absolutely nothing. It's actually damaging the value of your property, because yours on the market for 100,000. They can buy a brand new one for 140,000 with in-house financing, warranties and everything else tied with it, new kitchen and everything else, while your house had substandard electrics, windows, plumbing, etc., and would need at least 10,000 euros spent on it to bring it up to somewhere where I would be happy living at. So that's one of the things to be aware of. That's why renting is quite good. Renting also can work in your favour for things like community fees and stuff that are covered by the landlord. It also means that you can move out after 12 months. When you've got bad neighbours like this, you can simply move away from it. and that's what we're doing. Commute wise to the UK, it is possible. Book a minimum of 5 weeks in advance, and you will find that your flights are cheaper, but also you can get on every flight. Downside, the commutes can get a bit tedious, and if you have problems with, like I do with sometimes with the contracts would actually change, you may find that you're not on some flights because you're either stuck in Spain or stuck in the UK and paying for flights that you're not actually on. It's nice to be stuck in Spain for an extra few weeks if you can work from home, so I don't grumble at that. But when they ask you to go up to Edinburgh on a Friday night, when you've got a flight from Birmingham on the same evening, it's costly. But at the same time, that's part and parcel of living in two countries. It's not something to grumble about, but assess how to make it work for you. Getting companies to understand that working in Spain is not me working on another planet has been one of the difficulties I've experienced. Originally I was doing some work for the NHS, for example, and with that it was about 2 or 3 attempts, to be honest, because they wanted me to go into the UK to work, and I said no. Then it went back, and then they had some problems with their contract, so then asked me could I come and do a assessment and everything, and I said no again because they weren't going to pay for it. And then the third time they come back because the contract was in such a state they needed somebody that could actually analyse all the data and correct everything, which then led to 10 months of working on NHS projects from home. Many companies do not let you do it, and I was surprised at how backwards a lot of companies are in the UK. They'll say data protection, yet they encourage home working within the UK. There is no difference. I mean, literally, there is no difference. You're doing it through an internet service. So how this becomes an issue is beyond me, but I've had companies in Canary Wharf said we'd like to see you in the office. I said even when I'm in Worcester, the train's £80 to £140 a day. So it doesn't even pay for me to come from Worcester. So why do you need me in the office at all? Because it's all data based. We just like to see people in the office. And it's like you don't pay enough for people to be in the office, which is why the job's been advertised for 2 years. But anyway, these are the things you have to come across. And one of the things I would say, if you can do work that you can engage with from the UK in a way that accommodates both of you. For example, a UK company may appreciate that you're available more often. When I was doing the NHS work, I found Monday and Tuesday was very slow, but I would still be working at, say, 11 o'clock at night on a Friday, but I would take Wednesdays off. I adapted to the company's needs, and that's one of the things you should push if you're looking at trying to get here full time. At the same time, you can offer extra support to the business that they may not have thought about. You turn around and say, well, I know it's quiet on Monday and Tuesday, but you could actually say, I only need 3 days a week because my cost of living is cheaper. Or, as I do, you just double up on Thursday and Friday. Or Saturday, doesn't really matter. The whole point being is you're trying to get in an environment that suits. So for me, moving to Spain was a good idea. Also, we're moving over from the Philippines as well, which is also leading to the April and the kids having Spanish citizenship. For me, that is also beneficial. Why not the UK is often being thrown about, and I'll do another video on that. But for me, Spain, I love the climate here, I love the food here, I love the fact I can go out, like I could take the kids this afternoon, go and snorkel down the beach within 10 minutes. I love the fact that there's a strong variety of foods and cuisines available on our doorstep, and I do know my cost of living is much cheaper than it is in the UK. We also have private medical insurance, which is another thing. Costs us about €128 a month for the family of 4, €170 a year for dental treatment for 2 people, which I've got April and Ubi on the dental. What else have we got that's important? Car, I find the cars, if you can get around bad mechanics, then you've got cheap tax, cheap insurance. Insurance on the Astra is €180 a year. I've not had car insurance that cheap in the UK since I can remember. Since I can remember, because even when I've had the same car and they've gone down and the percentage has gone up in price, a lot of hidden taxes in the UK tax systems for vehicles. Yeah, I recommend moving to Spain. If you can, like I said, the hardest bit is work. You get the work right, and you may have to do stuff that you wouldn't normally do. I mean, I know some of our friends are actually doing pool cleaning and things like that, and they're professionals. At the end of the day, they've adapted to what's available, and the majority of it is looking after stuff people can't look after themselves because they're now 85. They moved over when they started to retirement. It has got an aging population in this area. I do think if you move to Madrid or Barcelona or Valencia, your job opportunities are much broader. You also have to be aware that they do want the dialects in some of these locations as well, so I do recommend reading up on that before moving there, especially in government offices. It's not just a case of speaking what we call Spanish. They often like the local dialects spoken in a business capacity and in government offices as well. So it can be more complex there. On the coast, there's a lot of seasonal work. You know, if you wanted bar work and come out here for 3 months during holiday seasons, you will find bar work. I'd recommend getting on the Facebook groups, analysing it, go through there. But bear in mind, during the winter, you may have no work at all. Which, the other option for that is just come out for the summer. Work the summer, go back to the UK, save up your cash, work in somewhere in the UK, then come back again. There's a lot of options there. It doesn't just mean that you need to try and move over straight away. For example, if you look for a cheaper rental here, you may find that over a period of time you may actually still keep it when you're in the UK because all your stuff's there, but you may actually end up buying. There's buy to rent stuff as well, which I'll get into in another video. But I do think Spain is a fantastic place to live. I do love it here. There is stuff I hate, and I mean, I've got to admit, the most annoying thing for me is noise. I hate noise, and I do find a lot of people disruptive here and don't give a damn. And like I said, I can't express if it's culturally throughout the country or just selective with certain groups from certain environments, a bit like going to Benidorm and seeing Brits vomiting, falling over on the street drunk. It's not everybody, so I'm not judging from that. I do know a lot of good Spanish people as well, which is also another reason I can't say that's everybody. But yeah, it's great here.